Good evening, welcome to the FC Transfer Room. You are with Dan, Colin, and Reese. It is Sunday night. Liverpool are second in the league, unfortunately, without a goal difference. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I know Liverpool might not be on the top of your agenda for your evening Zoom, but please, we really do appreciate you being here. If you could put a like on the stream, we'd appreciate it. If you could go on there and put us a subscription in, you can share the content, put notifications on, we'd really, really appreciate it. Brilliant. Right, okie dokie. Today's discussions, we're going to be talking about Liverpool's title challenge being stalled and whether or not it were realistic for us to actually think we can win every game between now and the end of the season. Will this take it derail us? Will it cause us to not go forward with this one? Or is it actually going to galvanise the situation and push us on to what we need to do? We're going to be talking about Atalanta midweek in the Europa League. Hopefully, let's get back on track, get a good win there, get some goals in him, whether or not what we expect to see from that Atalanta game. And then, of course, talk about our new favourite Portuguese man, Amorim. Won last night, 2-1, last-minute goal, very Liverpool-like. And according to Pedro Salmeida, I probably butchered his surname there. He's put out there and stated that Liverpool this week coming, so this is from the 8th, that there could well be contract talk and maybe some confirmation this week going forward. So that is quite exciting. We'll have that to discuss. Right, Colin, how are you, mate? How are you feeling after the results today? We've had a couple of hours to just digest. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, just disappointed. Disappointed, not, just because it felt, especially early, it felt there for the taking. It is a really hard fixture regardless. I think we've been, the past 2-3 years been pretty spoiled with our results against United. So I think it's easy for a lot of us to forget that it's been nearly an impossible place to go and get good results. So disappointed, but if disappointed lands you in second, even on points, I think there's still a fight really to be made out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the right way to see it. It's unfortunate because in the past, playing a Man United team away from home, not losing is a great result, but because of where they are, based on where they are as a team and the way that they've played and the way that they are, against teams like Chelsea, who we've dispatched quite easily, to be honest with you, in recent times. It is unfortunate because it feels like we're playing a mid-table club, albeit with the name of Man United. So very difficult to take, especially because, as you rightfully said, I felt that it was there for the taking. I think if we got that second goal, the game was done. I honestly genuinely felt like if we scored that second goal before they scored theirs, that the game would have been over and done with, and I think that would have been the end of it. I don't know. I'm back. So, yeah, disappointing. However, there is some positives for us to take from it. We are joint top of the league. Goal difference separates us. 7 games of football to go, and there's a lot of twists and turns that I still think are going to happen. Reese, same question to yourself, mate. How are you feeling after this result? Had a few hours to take on there. Are you feeling any better? Are you able to think more rationally, or are you ready to lash your TV out the window?
I'm a lot calmer now. Like I'm still annoyed, but I'm more like how Colin said. I'm more disappointed because we should have won the game. Obviously, it's not the end, but we had enough chance in the first half where we should have killed the game, and it kind of same thing kind of happened in the FA Cup game. But yeah, the game's happened now. Got to move on. Obviously, we just got to try and win the rest of our games, and hopefully, one of the other teams slip up.
You're on mute, Dan.
Yeah, you're on mute, Dan.
And as you can see, I'm just talking away to myself there. There we are. Anyway, obviously wasn't worth listening to. No, I think you're right. Absolutely, it is really disappointing. But a good point to be made is there's 7 games of football still to be played, and the Champions League and the Europa League starts this week, and that's going to create the fixture congestion, which throws up some strange results. It's big pressure games for us at Liverpool. Of course, Atalanta, great respect to them. We'll be coming on to discuss them later on. However, the overall quality of their team, the overall challenge that they present is very different to the one that Man City will have to play in against Real Madrid home and away. And then, of course, Arsenal playing Bayern Munich home and away. So there's some real dilemmas that those games are going to cause. And of course, the benefit of if they go through, which will be their intention, they have Man City or Real Madrid and Arsenal or Bayern Munich to play in the next game. So there's some really, really difficult fixtures there, which I think could well play a part in.
It's Villa sandwiched between two Bayern home and away, which is like that's not a fun, that's not a fun 7 days for anybody, I don't think.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a perfect point to bring in there, actually, is that Aston Villa in the past would have been a team who you were kind of thinking they've not got a lot to play for at this point of the season. However, they do. Top four is right there. Tottenham want top four. Aston Villa are in a situation where they can rotate heavily or say to this game, do you know what, guys, it doesn't matter. We're not expected to win this. If they want Champions League football next season, then they're going to have to go and fight and go and try and get a result. And Aston Villa will look at that game potentially and say, this is our best possible opportunity to get something away from them. They already did earlier on in the season at Villa Park. They got the 1-0, which was a great result for them. The results have dropped off a little bit at Aston Villa, which is to be expected. However, they'll have a full week-ish to rest. Are they playing Europa Conference League this week?
Let me look at their fixture list.
Just think that they have, because it'd just be interesting whether they're home or away as well.
Yeah, they have. They do. They have Lille.
Lille, is that home or away?
Let's see. It's the 11th. Yeah, so that's a midweek.
They're at home. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So again, Aston Villa there. They've got Lille. It's going to be a tough game for them. It's going to be an interesting match for them. It was important to them to try and progress in that competition, of course. However, the biggest prize available to them, not just the fact of being a trophy, but the biggest prize for them is getting into that Champions League. It shows a real intent from them. And now with the result the Spurs are just getting, they've dropped out of that situation. So I think Villa could do something. Ollie Watkins, if he's fit, who knows? But it's not a situation I wanted us to be in, to be totally honest. I don't like to be in the hands of other teams to try and do us a favour. Reece, how are you feeling about this situation? Do you think that this is Liverpool will go on to win the rest of these matches? Again, it's a big ask. 7 games on the bounce, 7 wins on the run is a lot to ask of any club. Do you feel that we have the tools and the capabilities of doing that with with Trent, with Alisson coming back, and Jota hopefully as well? Do you think that we'll have the firepower to get that job done?
I think we got the tools and the players coming back. The squad, otherwise we wouldn't be in a position now. I think we're more than capable. Obviously, I can't guarantee. Like I said, I do think before the end of the season, the other teams will drop points as well. But we may even drop points. But like I said, all we can try and do is we got to try and win our games. I'm the same as you, Dan. I don't like it to be in other people's hands. I like it when it's in our own hands, because the past couple of seasons when it wasn't in our hands, we saw how that went, and that was quite painful. But yeah, we just have to wait and see. I think we're more than capable, but yeah, we just have to. Hopefully, with the players coming back as well, I think that should give us a boost.
No, definitely. And that next game for us probably couldn't have gone. I don't think we could have asked for a better game in the Premier League to come up against. In all honesty, Crystal Palace at Anfield. They played well, Crystal Palace, to be fair to them, against City. They did. However, away from home, they're a very different animal. And I think coming to Anfield, I'm very confident we should get a very good result against Crystal Palace. And we just move that situation forward. We put the pressure on, do what we need to do. And then it's going to be some really tough games out on the road. Carl, question for yourself there. Mm-hmm. The next 3 or 4 games, 1 at home, 3 of them away on the bounce. Is there any of them that are really standing out to you as a great concern?
And just do you mean just for the Premier League matches, or for?
Yeah, just for the Premier League games there, because the Atalanta situation is like a separate entity. So
plus with the Atalanta situation, like if you get 3 clear goals in the first game, it makes the second. I'm sure they'll play well, but it's just makes the away match a little bit less frightening. So that'll be what that's Palace. So Palace, Fulham, Everton, and West Ham. Yeah,
those 4 games there. Any of those that are standing out to you that are giving you a great level of concern?
Playing away at Goodison Park's never a good time. Like that game is not going to be pretty, regardless of whether or not we win, like it just is going to be, it's going to be a slog. It's going to be absolute misery from the start to the beginning, start to the end. And that's like, I just am not looking forward to it at all. Like the West Ham game, I think probably West Ham are a better team, who with better players, but I expect them to try to play a better game, which probably works better for us. I think that it was like the 78th minute today, and there was legitimately 10 United players like inside of their own box, and I'm like, there's just no way we're picking one off outside of a penalty, and we did end up getting that. Like we're just so, and we have been for a while. I think really breaking down someone who is determined to sit people that far behind the ball and just to throw bodies in front of shots, passes. I mean, really, it's hard for anybody. I don't mean to say it's just hard for us, but so I don't think Everton are going to be interested in playing a game of football at all. I think they're only going to be interested in just trying to survive, which is like, I just know it's going to be a miserable game.
I mean, it always is, isn't it? It is always a situation where it is very, very difficult for us to play them, who now stand with a game in hand in 15th, which is quite surprising, depending on any further points deductions that they may well receive between now and the end of the season. Just saying. Looking there, and I'm looking down the bottom of the league. Crystal Palace are 1 point better than Everton. I don't fear Crystal Palace. I know they've got a new manager. I thought they played some nice football. I just feel our quality will massively shine through being at Anfield. And I'm
sort of the same thing that's like in opposition to Everton. Like I think they'll want to play a game. They'll want to have the game look like a game of football rather than 10 people in the box.
Exactly, yeah. Crystal Palace will come to it. They have a style of play that will come to do something, and they weren't just sitting in against Man City. To be fair to them, and as you say, I think that will play well forward to us. Just looking here now, Everton's form at home, though. I mean, just discussing that Everton game. Reese, your thoughts towards these next 3-4 games? Is there any one of those that are standing out to you that's showing a great worry? Because I'm worried myself that I'm feeling too overconfident, because in those matches the only one I was actually concerned on was today, and it turned out to be right.
Okay. For me, Everton, I'm not worried. It's more, I know it's going to be a derby, so that kind of game form goes out the window. But the game I'm more is Fulham, because obviously when we played them this year, all the games have been quite close.
Yeah.
And when we played them in the League Cup as well, we played them in the league, was it 4-3 or something like that?
Yeah.
So that's the one I was more looking at. Fulham and maybe Tottenham, even though I still think we'll beat Tottenham because they play football. A lot of the time, the games with them are back and forth as well. But those are the two, particularly Fulham, because of how they play against us this season. They always seem quite out for the game and like give it 100% and play quite well. But yeah, that's about it.
No, I totally agree, and I've just been looking at the recent results and stuff, and look at Fulham, and Fulham have been very
up and down.
Yeah, they've been really hit and miss, to be honest with you, lads. And I was concerned myself. I was looking and thinking, oh, they're going to have there. They drew 3-3 with Sheffield. They lost 3-1 to Nottingham Forest. They lost 1-0 to Newcastle. No wins in 3. I mean, we shouldn't be concerned for them. Do you know what I mean? They were great, but looking at recent form now, there, even though going away to Craven Cottage, it's a tough match. It's London, of course, but if we want to win this league, it absolutely has to be 3 wins away from home and the Palace game. There's no excuse.
It has to be 4 wins.
Yeah, I don't think there is any other possible outcome other than us winning those 4 games, and I'm very confident that that's what happens. I just don't like the idea that I'm hoping that points will be dropped outside of our. That's the bit that doesn't sit well with me. Right, okie dokie. Next one, we'll go on to Atalanta. Europa League is back. Big game, of course, coming up for us. An opportunity for us as a team to go out there and get the result that we need. Carl, question for yourself there. The Atalanta game, do you see there being anything about it that concerns you that we won't progress through to the semi-finals?
No. I think this is think this competition is our best chance at getting the silverware. I'm scared of. I guess maybe this European competitions just provide a level of confidence for me in
Yeah.
the kind of effort that I know that we can and will produce in these games.
Yeah.
And frankly, like I don't think Atalanta are they could be playing pretty well. I just don't think that they're going to, they're going to show things that we are not expecting or. Yeah.
That's random.
Positivity is being certainly positive. Jurgen Klopp's beard looked really good this game. I like that. Please find me some more positive things because I need them. Please, honestly, genuinely give me some more because I need that in my life right now because I'm not. Yeah. Carry on, Carl. Sorry, mate.
It's okay. Yeah, I guess the short of it is I'm not scared of this team. I don't think that they bring anything that we can't handle or deal with. I think teams, especially outside of the league, who come into Anfield and play, I think there just is a level of almost being shell shocked that I think teams can't deal with when you don't have to go there every year. And you don't have a squad full of players who have been there, been going there every year. I think that really, really kind of feeds into the Anfield legend. And so for that, especially this home game, I'm not worried of. I think if we can get, like I said before, I think if we can get 2 to 3 clear goals of them, it's over with.
No, 100%. I agree with you. I think that's where I'm looking at with Atalanta. We're at home, which was confusing because I've heard a few people say we're away and then coming back. No, we're at Anfield first time round, which for me suits me. If we were playing and with the greatest respect to Atalanta, and this will come back to bite me, if we were playing an Inter Milan, if we were playing a team who was much higher in the pecking order as to where they are, I would have preferred to have had the away leg the first game round for us to be able to kind of go, right, if we win 2-0 away from home, fantastic, excellent job. We're not going to lose 3-0 at Anfield. It's just, they just don't feel that that's going to happen. However, in a situation like this, I kind of go, this is just Liverpool's opportunity to just kill the whole tie. Finish it, 3-4-0. Just go all out there to say that the away leg coming round is an opportunity to rotate heavily, to be able to then use that as an opportunity, which we've seen Liverpool do in the Champions League. We've seen them do it against Porto when we beat them 5-0 away from home in the Stadio Dragao. And, we come back and the team's got some rotation to it. And it's like, get the hard yards done Thursday night. This is a good opportunity to put to bed some of the disappointment that happened today. And then kind of go, right, that's a springboard now going towards the last 7 Premier League games and potentially 3 more matches between now and the final. Going to the Europa League, which, as you rightfully say, Col, I also think that the Europa League is there for us to win. It's ours to lose, if that makes sense. I feel like we are by far and away the best team in there. However, the main prize being the Premier League. Reece, Atalanta midweek Wednesday. What are your thoughts on what you think we're going to see? Do you think that it will be the strongest outfit, or do you think we'll make some rotations?
I would like to rotate because I'm not really worried about Atlanta. The only team I'll pay attention to is Leverkusen, or I can't remember who else is left in it. I think any other team we should kind of beat. So I would like us to rotate so we could rest some players so they could be fresh for the 3 games that we have, the away games. So Curtis Jones played today, I'll start him. Elliot, I'll start. Potentially, if there's a trend or if there's a draw, if they're available next couple of games, I want them to get some minutes, some match fitness as well. But yeah,
do you know what, Reece? I think you've nailed it there. That was something that just came to my head when I first put it out there to say, would I do some rotations? And I kind of go, not heavily. I don't think I'd heavily rotate on the basis because this is when we go into that final sprint as a Liverpool team. Jurgen normally likes to play his strongest team week in, week out, and then make the rotations. However, like you rightfully said there, Curtis Jones, I think, should start. I feel like he will need a bit of time. This is an opportunity for him to be able to get a bit of match rhythm. He looked a little bit rusty, and that's okay. That's absolutely fine. You know, he came in to do a job. He did a lot of it very well, but on a couple of occasions, he just got caught with the ball, not quite up to the match speed. And that is to be completely, understood from the injury he received. Trent Alexander-Arnold resumes full training. Alisson resumes full training. Diogo Jota apparently this week. All are back in full Liverpool training, along with a certain forgotten man, Stefan Bajcetic, which I'd absolutely love to see, to be totally honest with you, even just being part of the match day squad, if he is available, of course. So with that, if those lads are available, I'm completely with you. I think there should be maybe a couple of changes to, like your first team choices. I think Curtis Jones should probably start, and then bring in those lads. If we can bring in Jota for 15-20 minutes just to give him a bit of time to get out, stretch his legs, and same with Trent Alexander-Arnold. That then gives us the full opportunity to go and play on Sunday against Crystal Palace at Anfield, and then hopefully be able to have a full match fit squad available to us. Cole, kind of question to yourself there, Atalanta. Do you think Liverpool will make some wholesale changes, or do you think we'll probably see pretty much a similar team that we saw this weekend?
I think in previous seasons, he's been pretty adamant about rotating for teams that I think he thinks are weaker than us. I feel like was that home game against Sparta where he put out, it was just the first team lineup in the midweek?
He went full detonation settings on them, didn't he?
I think that's what we'll do. I don't expect to see much, especially with people coming back soon, and the amount of people it seems like we're getting back within the next week to 2 weeks, especially. I would expect almost no changes, or if any changes, I would expect maybe changes, to a more seasoned look of something a little more serious, a little more polished, even than maybe we have. I think Jurgen's been pretty ruthless with his team selections, especially for this competition. I don't think he's really taking any chances in playing a weaker team, catching a team that is, maybe a little more hungry than some of the young guys would expect, and being caught on the back foot. So I'd expect very few, if any.
No, I agree with you, and I think like we all kind of mentioned there, this is Jurgen's last season. It's Jurgen's last opportunity to be able to, where it is still in his hands. I still think there's chops and there's changes, and things are going to be different in that period of time in the Premier League. There will still be results that we won't expect. There'll still be things that will turn things on its head. There's still going to be drama to have between now and then. However, Atalanta, it's with the greatest respect to them. I've just saw your message there. I'm having a look at the game that they played here against Cagliari away from home. They scored early and then lost pretty much within the last minute. They played a full strength team: Coop Miners, Scamacca, Lukman, Zappacosta, Edison, De Roon. So they went strong, and they don't seem to do very well away from home. That seems to be something that they do struggle with. Atalanta, they don't travel well. So this is an opportunity for Liverpool to kill the tie, finish it, get the job done immediately. And I think 3-0 is enough. 4-0 is done and dusted. Put it to bed. Right, okie dokie. So really do appreciate everyone's comments that you're putting into the chat there. It's really, really useful. Just before we move on to the Amorim chat, because I've just saved a couple of people's questions. I haven't ignored you. I have seen them. I just want to bring them up when and where they need to be. So Paul's just put a comment in there. He's put in saying, what chance do West Ham have of beating Leverkusen? I'd be more comfortable playing West Ham in Dublin. You're absolutely right. I feel more comfortable playing with them. Reese, question to yourself, mate. David Moyes, is he going to pull a madness and bring an end to the unbeaten run of Xabi Alonso?
No.
All right, then, there we are. Get that positivity fella there informing me.
I have to be honest. They got too much momentum now, and I'm sure they got like 1 point. They need 1 point to win the league.
Yeah.
I think are based on the results this weekend because Bayern lost, so then they can focus completely on the Europa League. So I would love for West Ham, but I can't see it. Over 2 legs, I can't see it.
Yeah. Carl, David Moyes, is he going to do it? Europa Conference League winner. He has more European pedigree than Xabi Alonso. Tell me you can do something for me.
Listen, he probably could. West Ham have been so enigmatic for me this year. I think there's been times where they've looked phenomenal, I thought, and times where I just can't figure out what they can't figure out about themselves. Yeah, maybe.
To be honest, for West Ham, we look at teams and we say to themselves, what have they still got left to play for? West Ham's season is a bit of a stall, isn't it, really? Let's be honest. They've started quite well, then it dropped off a little bit, then it kind of rejuvenated. There was talk of him, they want him out of the club, blah, 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 and then the results came back around again. So it's been a bit of a topsy-turvy league for them. However, Europa League opportunity presents itself for them where they could do something. Bayer Leverkusen obviously represents the biggest challenge to any club within the tournament, except for us. That's my opinion on it. I think they've got the quality to beat them. And looking at the teams, they've got a good team. Paqueta, they've got Bowen, they've got Mohamed Kudus, they've got some really good, capable footballers. And it's all going to come down to what happens at the London Stadium. I think that if they're to have any chance of going through over the 2 legs, in my opinion, they have to win that game. Like, that has to be a game that West Ham somehow do the business, because I can't see West Ham winning at Bayer Leverkusen. I could see them getting a draw, perhaps. However, they've got to inflict that first loss onto Leverkusen, and somebody out there eventually is going to do it. Now, whether it's West Ham, whether it's a team in the semis, or whether or not it could be us in the final, is going to have to come at some point. And I think that if West Ham don't get through against Leverkusen, I think there's a very good chance Leverkusen, the team that we play in the final, rightfully, that's probably likely the case because they are the second favourites in the betting. Right, let's have a route through if anyone's for there. Paqueta, Bowen, Jordwos, Prowse, Antonio, Kudus, very good players. Yeah, Paul, you're absolutely right. A lot of good players. Some of them, Mohamed Kudus, I would be very interested in playing as a Liverpool shirt, to be totally honest with you. Right, let's get on to a little bit of a positive chat. Let's get on to the future. The past is behind us. What's done is done. The title is not over. It's not finished. It's an opportunity missed, of course. However, more opportunities will be around and coming around the corner. And talking of opportunities, Ruben Amorim, one hand probably on the title in Portugal, beats Benfica last night 2-1, scored in the first minute. Then 90 minutes pretty much of sheer sort of panic and nervous energy. I watched the game myself and I was very impressed, to be totally honest, because on paper, and probably in reality as well, Benfica are a much better team than Sporting Lisbon are on a player-for-player basis. However, what stood out for me was the level of coaching that I believe that Sporting have. They are a team that stayed within it. The chances, they defended well as a unit. They played well together. Some players didn't cover themselves in glory in the Sporting team. Inacio looked like it was a tough game for him. I've only watched him the once. Of course, he's a great player. Of course, he's a great young talent. This game seemed to be one that he wasn't quite doing so well in. But they came about last minute, scored 90th minute. It's very Liverpool-like. And the reports that were coming out from that is now that the win has happened, they aren't done and dusted. They aren't home and dry. There's still 7 games in the Portuguese league. However, Sporting have 1 game in hand. They play on Friday against Gil Vicente, in which if they win that one, 7 points clear with 6 games to go. And you would all but say that it's done and dusted, which you could say leaves an opportunity for contract talk to be further progressed, and that is what's being reported at the moment. Cole, we've not discussed this together on a channel before. Ruben Amorim, what are your thoughts? Are you sold on him? And I understand that's probably easier to say than not because of what Alonso said. But have you had a chance to have a look at what he's doing out there?
I have. I've been trying to think about this this feeling that I have of like belief in the club and like what the club are, what the decision that they're going to make is. I just have a belief in them. I have a belief in the people behind the scenes. And I'm more excited than I am worried. I think whatever the decision is, and I think if Ruben Amorim is the man, then there's probably ample and backed up by data reasons that he is the right person.
Yeah.
I do like a young, hungry manager. I think having someone who still has a lot to prove and still I'm sure believes that they do have that much to prove, really kind of feeds into their fire and wanting to make sure that they're gonna continue to keep this club where it's where it belongs. He's a handsome man. He is. There's no doubt about it.
I like that comment. That's funny from Paul. That's funny.
Amorim with that beard looks like Mo Salah's brother. A lot of beard chat this evening in the comments. I appreciate that. Reese has got a cracking beard himself, and I look like I live on the street when I grow a beard, so it's not something I can do. Yeah, a lot of beard chat this evening. Very positive. I like it. That's what we're here for. No, I think you're right. Yeah, no, 100%, Carl. I think you're right. I think I trust in the people who are making the decisions. If whoever that they choose, because Michael Edwards is back in the building and he hasn't gone far in doing us wrong when it comes to the people that they have recruited, both on and off the pitch. So for me, I trust that process. I do trust that there is managers who you're going to have to take a lot more to convince me, Roberto De Zerbi, to inform that I believe that they are the level with where we are. The manager market as it stands right now is not flush with managers who are at the level of Jurgen Klopp are, as in how progressed they are, how further along they are in their abilities and what they've learned, and coming in and bringing in young managers. And it's like bringing in young players. You can come on somebody and they are all of a sudden the trajectory takes off and they start brilliantly and they carry on being brilliantly. However, they can also burn out very quickly. And something I like about Amorim is that he isn't somebody who has only had the 1 or 2 seasons. He has shown that he's able to do this. He did this with Braga, 10 games, only lost to the Rangers team. He went on to go to the final of the Europa Conference League, losing it to Frankfurt. They won the Portuguese trophy. It's like their FA Cup, isn't it? I don't know his exact name of it. Their like national trophy. They won that one. Then he was snapped up by Sporting, won a title and a cup double in his first season. 19 years in the making. No one else has done this. It's a closed shop, isn't it, when it comes to the Portuguese league? Porto and then Benfica are the 2 teams who command that, with Sporting Lisbon solidly being normally the third choice team within there. He's lost players. Lost some brilliant footballers to sales. He lost Bruno Fernandes in the first season. He's lost Paulinho. He's lost Ugarte. I mean, there's many more. I'm trying to bring them off just off the fly. But he's also shown the ability to replace them. And he's replaced them with the players, who he trusts in. And they're all players who aren't lighting up football before they come there. So he's obviously got a very good eye for the players who are capable of coming in through for him. Reese, Ruben Amorim, your thoughts on him? How are you feeling towards his appointment if the reports are be to believed? And if you just give me a moment, Reese, before you start, I'm going to try and screen share something. Select window or a screen. StreamYard, we'll try that one. Is that going to work? Yeah, I think that's going to work. Just give me a moment. Hang on. I've knackered it up. No, lost it. Can't get it up there. Sorry, everyone. But I'll read it out for everybody and those who want to go. Pedro Sepulveda, 1 hour ago. A meeting between Ruben Amorim's agent and LSC is scheduled for Monday, tomorrow, the 8th April to negotiate final terms of the Portuguese coach's contract. Sounds like it's done. Sounds like it's done. Sounds like you're looking at your next manager, Mohamed Salah's brother, Reece. Tell me all about him.
Obviously, if we can get it done this week, then that's great. I like Amran. Like I said, I like his style of play. Obviously, he's a young manager. But I'm quite excited. I've said that before. I'm quite excited. Obviously, it's a losing club, 100%. But I'm excited with Edwards coming in and what he did beforehand, and now he's in a even more controlled role, and with football operations. I'm looking forward to next season, the coming seasons. A lot of the other rival teams feel we're going to fall off, but I'm not really worried about what they're saying. I think they're going to be kind of in for a shock, to be fair.
Yeah, I think that's what they like to say, don't they? I think that was the belief when Liverpool last season didn't do so well.
Yeah.
Everyone's convinced that that's it. We're finished. We're done. We're not. It's
Yeah.
not coming back. And what happened? Here we are back at the top of the table, all but on goal difference. Colin, those reports there, what do you make of them? Ruben Amorim tomorrow could potentially be getting announced within the week.
I wonder a lot about in kind of times of transition like this, how decisions are made about timing and about like the process of this transition. I think Paul brought up a good question. It's like when managers leave, does a new guy come with his entire coaching staff? And it's often like sometimes yes, it's entirely new, and sometimes it's no. I thought one of the interesting notes was that the goalkeeping staff was not announced as to be leaving from Liverpool. Now I'm sure that there are potentials for those to change, but I think that's part of what probably, if we're to believe that there are final meetings happening tomorrow, I think that's part of what is negotiated and what is discussed at these meetings is not just pay and compensation, but so here's my 3 closest backroom staff. These guys are absolutely coming with me. Here's 3 more that I would like to come with me. How do they interlay with people who are going to be staying, who is definitely going to be staying?
Sorry, I was laughing on the comments. Sorry.
It's okay. But yeah, I mean, so I think that whole process is very, that process of negotiation and conversations like that are very interesting. And I wonder if, even if it's agreed this week, if it's not announced until the week after, or maybe the week after that. But the timing, again, the timing of if that decision is made this week, when they announce it, I think is very, very intriguing to me about why that decision is made and when it's made for.
It is, isn't it? Because this was something which, I mean, if this is to be, I mean, the source is very reputable. He's a Portuguese journalist. He's normally, from what I've seen, when it comes to the information that we received, he doesn't like to jump ahead when it comes to making some of these announcements from Portuguese players or Portuguese players playing within Portugal moving. And this is very brave of him to make these reports if they aren't turning out to be the case that they are. Like you said, though, it's the announcement time that will be interesting as to when does that happen, because for neither of us in this situation, our leagues are almost in the same position. We are both in title races. Neither of them are finished. Neither of them are even close to being finished. There's a lot of work to be done. And as to whether or not the agreement could be made perhaps this week, but as to whether or not the announcement is made this week and as to when the announcement would come around. And that is something that I am interested in hearing. But the report that's just been made there from Pedro Subamelda is really, really interesting as to they're brave to say that this is the week that it's going to be done. So with that, is there anything about you that has an apprehension going towards when it comes to Ruben Amorim? It's from the research that you've done yourself there. Is there anything about his game or anything about the system of football that he plays that leaves you with some concerns and questions?
It is, I mean, his system is fairly consistently 3 at the back, right? doesn't mean that it's something that is, can't fit what we already play, but that will be a change. I think that the kind of idea and the style of it better, you know, can better represent, the way that Liverpool play, which is to be directed, to be, to not necessarily just have possession for possession's sake.
Yeah.
And in possession, I think that is what is kind of fits Liverpool style the most. But I guess out of and defensively, maybe some changes, which is not necessarily always a bad thing. Kind of keeping things fresh in that way.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that those things have to happen. And from looking at the breakdowns of the formations of play, it will be three at the back. Work will have to be done for us. I'm of the opinion, actually, and this is something which I wanted to bring up. This was more about what happened today, so it fits quite well actually in with Ruben Amorim's style of play. He only ever plays with three at the back, three centre backs. Virgil van Dijk would be in the middle. Left-hand side, I believe that we would have to make a purchase of a player to fit into that situation. To be honest, I don't think an Andy Robertson would play in that position. If he was to play, more likely to play on the left wing-back position. My concern is, and I'd like to bring this out there, is it potentially time for us to move on from Ibrahima Konate based on his inability to stay fit? Reese, Ibrahima Konate. Now, just bear this in mind before you go forward with this one.
Okay.
Ruben Amorim's teams that he likes to play with, he does not like to do a lot of rotation when it comes to those players. They are very, very important to his style of play. He needs to have players that he can rely on. Ibrahima Konate, injuries-wise, are really, really concerning me, as it's not gone away. He's consistently had a large amount of time out, basically unfit through a manner of different reasons. What are your thoughts on whether or not it could potentially mean that we replace Konate as well?
I don't think he's going anywhere. I wouldn't sell him for me. With the injuries, it's been frustrating. But if you look, the reason he's been getting injured is because he was having to cover at the right back position when Trent would play inverted. That's why a lot of the times you'll be stretched. You'll be covering the centre back and the right back. So I think more when Amron comes in, the formation will be different, so he won't have to do that. It's frustrating at times, but I think a lot of our players get injured, either the intensity, some of them having to play more than one position and stuff like that. But for me, he's still in his prime. And I think once we change the formation, and it's probably going to start to play, a few other things tactically will probably change. So it won't necessarily have so much in terms of him, especially playing where he's covering two positions. So for me, I'm not trying to sell Konate. For me, he stays. But I do understand your concerns with the injuries.
Colin, the same question for yourself. Joel Matip probably doesn't have a future going forward in the Liverpool team, especially as a first choice player. I think Liverpool may offer him another 1-year deal because he got injured on our books, and to allow him the opportunity to find himself one more, I think that's the right thing to do. And that will be, for the club to decide. Ibrahima Konate, do you think that we can rely on him to be the person we need him to be for 30 games of the season?
I think Reese makes an incredible point, actually, about the part of the reason that he is, I think, consistently injured is that we're asking so much of him physically. I think inversely with Virgil van Dijk, we are asking the same of him. This is a man who is, absolutely special in almost every way. And a lot of times, outside of that knee injury, the man's not injured. He's never picking up, 2 to 3 week little knocks, across the majority of his career. Some people just do. They do pick up when you're asking that much of them. I think they just do. I don't see this as a reason to move on. I think there's very few places you can go from Ibrahim Konate upward. I don't think there's any reason there would be to try to get someone else in who is of lower quality just because they're a little bit more stable in their injury history. I'd be much happier to see, if we're worried about numbers, I'd be much happier to see us purchase another center back for anywhere across the back and give a real opportunity to someone like Sepp van den Berg in preseason to see where he is in terms of his development. He's someone who fits that kind of three center back style, I think, a lot better than putting someone back there by themselves, like Virgil van Dijk often is with Ibrahim Konate, just kind of putting the two of them back there and asking them to cover all of that space. I'd be much happier with a solution like that rather than trying to. I mean, otherwise, I think that could be like three center backs in and out of the squad in one period, in one window, and that's a lot. I think that's a lot to ask of a unit to try to wholly rotate personnel and learn a new defensive style. It seems like a lot to ask of a unit to keep them at the A+ standard that we would expect of them.
It absolutely is. I was asked in the last stream when we talked about who is our 11, who's our undroppable 11, and I said, well, positions wise, Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Alexis McAllister, Mo Salah, and then a few others. And I actually said, but I qualified it, and it was Konate. Konate is absolutely our other first choice centre back when he's fit. That was my thing, and I shouldn't be using that qualifier. I know that Joel Matip went through a period of where he was quite an injury-prone player, and then somehow later in his career became less injury-prone. This season was obviously a very unfortunate situation with an ACL. That can't be, gone for, and that can't be held against anybody because it can't be dealt with like that. So, yeah, it was just a question I just wanted to put out there, just on the basis of, I think Konate is absolutely exceptional. I think that it'd be incredibly difficult for us to replace in terms of quality. However, availability is the best ability, and my worry is as to whether or not Konate's ability to be available is becoming more and more of an issue. Today, this was quite unfortunate that he wasn't available for this game. This could have been really important to have your big game players, your most experienced lads, rather than playing your 21-year-old centre-backs, which Kwanzaa has been incredible. However, young players make mistakes. That's what they're here to do. They will learn.
Konate was on the bench, I think.
Yeah, but the only reason he wouldn't start was because he wasn't fully fit. There's no way that you would choose Jarell Kwanzaa over. I don't know because you wouldn't choose Jarell Kwanzaa over Ibrahim Konate if Konate is fit. International centre back, gone to the World Cup, 24 years of age. Fully experienced within this team. There's no reason he wouldn't play unless he isn't fully fit. So that was just a question I wanted to put it out there. A couple of questions here, a couple of points from Paul. Amorim is very rigid with his formation. Our current squad might not be suited for that. Not completely suited. You're absolutely right. I think there is players that we need to bring in. I believe we would need a left wing back and we would need a left centre back based on the players that I think that we have available to us. And we'll probably make 2 to 3 signings at the very least. Couple of players are going to be leaving us. Thiago will be leaving us in the summer. Perhaps 1 or 2 others may well be sold. A couple of loans could come available to us. But I believe a long-term Andy Robertson replacement at left wing back, with Andy Robertson becoming our rotational player in there as he comes in there. He will play a lot of games next season, I believe. However, I think that we will be looking to bring in a long-term replacement for him. And then a left centre-back, as we've already mentioned. I think that we would be crying out for a player who is left-footed, who can play that position and is capable of doing that, and has proven they can do that. The next point that he's made, and this is something which is interesting, is I don't see how Trent and Bradley fit into the same 11. There's a couple of ways that they fit in. Trent Alexander-Arnold may well likely want to become a midfielder. And if he wants to fit into this formation, he will have to move into the middle 2. They play a defensive 2 within their midfield. Or playing as a right wing back, It's a lot defensively. The block to me and has to get up and down that pitch. However, it will be similar to what Trent you would have done in 18, 19, 19, 20, 2021, of being a more marauding right wing back that we saw in earlier in his career and less inverting. Trent and Bradley, I think we could see a lot of rotation, to be totally honest with you. I think Bradley is still very young, still going to be doing a lot of learning. He's had a breakout season this year. However, it might mean that if the circumstances were to come to it, he plays off the bench, he plays in the right wing back position, Trent moves into the midfield. So I think there'll be opportunities. I just don't think it'll be a case of he'll play all the time. Reese, your thoughts on the players that we might need to bring into this Liverpool team and the players that we have currently available? Are you comfortable that the body of work that bringing Amorim is going to bring with him we're capable of doing quite quickly? And who do you see us bringing in position wise? Don't need a name, but where do you see us bringing players in?
I kind of agree with what you were saying. I think a left centre back, because he plays 3 centre backs. I think we'll need that, and I think we'll need a wing back. I think we're being linked with, from what I'm seeing at the minute, is I think he plays for Wolves, the one at left back. I can't remember his name, but he's quite a good player. Robinson potentially could be backup. You never know. He might come in and want to move him on. I think there's a few players that I hear that Edwards, you don't know, him and Edwards might have 1 or 2 guys of their own that they want to get in. Because we can't keep everyone, like I've said before, even some of the young players that are due to come back, and then the ones that have done well already. I don't think we'll keep all of them. Majority of them we will, but I think 1 or 2 of them Edwards will probably see if he can cash in on some of them. Even though a lot of our fan base won't want to hear that, some players will have to go. But yeah, mainly a left centre back and a left wing back. I think with the formation he plays, potentially, I don't know, so was like go in the 10, or we can go in. I'm looking to try and see if we can go in a bit further forward, so we can kind of just use them more technically instead of defensively and offensively.
No, definitely. Same question for yourself. With your revision and research that you've done on the system that we could see at Liverpool if Amorim is to become our new manager, where do you see us strengthening, and who do you see potentially leaving the club? If you've got a name, brilliant. I'd be interested to hear it.
I've been taken aback by Luis Diaz. I mean, the Luis Diaz chatter around his maybe potentially wanting to move. Yeah, so I live in Pittsburgh here. Big Pittsburgh Steelers fans are. Our head coach Mike Tomlin has a saying is like, we want participants, not hostages.
Yeah.
If you don't want to be here, we don't want you. And that's okay. Like, if you are desperate to go. It's okay. I can't. I can't imagine a world where someone would want to go that badly at this point from Liverpool, and them not to just try to make the most money we can and to reinvest that. So I think you guys are right. I think left center back and left wing back would be needs, especially. I mean, I think there's people you could, less so at left center back, but at left wing back, I think you could probably get away with Robertson and Tsimikas there. I think that works. If there's concessions to be made about where we might need things worse, I think you could probably make those 2 work. Obviously, if Diaz wants to go and he's going to, then that obviously needs to be addressed as well. I wonder if something like Szoboszlai moving to that position doesn't happen if obviously, because I don't think Szoboszlai fits in the kind of traditional midfielders there. In either of those.
From what I've read about Szoboszlai, he would play in the advanced 8s, is where they would have Szoboszlai.
Which is what would be like traditionally they would start as wingers very high and wide, and then they come inside as the wing backs go up. So that would be my guess, is that that if Diaz goes, then Szoboszlai kind of takes that role then, and maybe then Trent does go into midfield. I think at that point, then I think Connor Bradley is great, and I think he would work very well as a wingback. But I don't know that we have anybody else who can do that role behind him. So I think then that depth at that position would be something that would need to be addressed. So whether or not that's someone who you're going to bring in who's younger on a, whether they're in a lower league somewhere else that is younger and happy to kind of sit and learn and wait for their time, then I think that would need to be addressed, but not necessarily. I don't think you need a huge, massive signing in that area. I think, but it just does look a little thin there if Trent does go inside.
No, 100%. And to be honest with you, it's quite funny you saying that. I've actually, it does feel like Luis Diaz is playing himself into a transfer. He's playing himself into that situation where he's playing really, really well. Because earlier on in the season, and there was this talk about, if someone offers, I don't know, saying a number 70 million for Diaz, I was going, if someone offers us 70 million for Diaz the way he's playing at the moment, I'd snap your hand off, because he went through a period of the season where he wasn't playing very well at all. But recently he's been absolutely fantastic, and I'll always be willing to change my opinion on any player. And as it stands right now, Luis Diaz is absolutely fantastic. He was our best attacker, still working hard, still out there doing what he needs to do. But you rightfully say, we don't want hostages at this team. And, Luis Diaz, if he does want to leave, if he does want to make a move, and there is a team out there who's willing to make the appropriate price tag for him, then, we have to accept that may well be the case. The biggest difficulty is selling a player for £100 million who we know about, who we know what they're capable of and what they can do. It's not as easy to go out there and find another £100 million winger, because we don't know how they're going to fit with us. We can talk about Leao or talk about who or whatever, or any of these players, or Kovic Rakala. I butchered his Georgian name, but I don't have to say it. It might work, it might be excellent, or it might not. And then you end up with a player who you bought for £100 million who isn't as good as the one you just sold. So it's a big risk. Final question, probably just before we go in on this, before we come to an end of the stream. Are we blind or loyal to acknowledge that Salah is on the decline? 120 plus million, I'd sell him. Lots to unpack there, and I'll put the first question when it comes to Reese. Are we blind or loyal to acknowledge that Salah is on the decline? I know one person who disagrees with you, and it's probably Mo Salah, to be honest. I think he would disagree with that statement from the outset. And is £120 million enough for him to leave the club at the end of the season? Reese, your thoughts, please.
If we're not going to give him a new contract, then that's probably what you're going to get. But if you're asking me if I would keep him, I would keep him for another season. But I do think we need to get someone else who can play there as well, because I think it's important for competition. The whole time we've had him with Klopp, he hasn't had no competition there, I think. So, but I
don't think anyone's fancied it. I think, let's be honest.
Yeah. But we've done quite well. Obviously, he's a phenomenal player, but we've done quite well as well without Salah, where a lot of rivals or even other Liverpool fans have said when Salah, or people have said when Salah's not going to play, we're going to fall off and this and that. But we're still here. We're still amongst it. Like I said, I would keep him for this season, sell him next season. But don't be surprised if Edwards got his own plans, or even a new manager, and they might feel, let's cash in on him and we can get one or two players. So, but yeah,
definitely. No, I'd agree. If the Saudi money is there, I don't know whether or not that's where Salah wants to go yet. I'm not of the opinion that he's about the money. He's already an exceptionally wealthy man. He's already paid an awful lot of money. It's apparently can be up to £1 million a week currently at our club, with other deals and other things that are available to him. That's a lot of cash plus the bonuses. So I've always said we offer him a contract. It's a 2-year deal. We get one more year out of him, and then we sell him next year. That's how I sit. That's how I feel. Whether that's available to him with Michael Edwards being in here, because like any good football manager player, if they hit 30, they're finished. And I think that's how he sees a lot of players when it comes to their forward contracts being made. Carl, same question for yourself. £120 million, is it enough for him to leave? Even if he accepts a deal. I'll put that out for you.
Yeah.
He'll accept either situation.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. When thinking about like the kind of formation, and I think again to Paul's points that he had made before, that Amorim does keep that structure. There's not really instances where he's not playing that structure. I don't know if Salah really fits. Listen, if I could make that swap plus you obviously you keep the difference in whatever the money might be. That would work for me. I think that
this is West Ham. We'd end up owing them money.
Yeah.
And Salah.
I hope not. Positionally, just purely positionally, I don't think it makes sense to keep Salah and Diaz. Actually, like just from a purely like, where is their best position on the field? Where is, and just how that might fit in what Amorim's system might be. I just don't think that those work. And you can always you're asking them to do things. I'm sure that they would do, that they would do them, but are they going to be happy to continue to do that? To not be the ones to lead the line, as these kind of Klopp, three strikers that we've seen, over the course of the last 7 years. I don't know. I don't know that they would be happy to not do that. Dan, you're on mute.
That's good. I didn't interrupt you. It's actually quite interesting. From what I've read, there is that the Amorim system of where Salah would play, which is more centrally as opposed to being outside, is that in these years of what we should be able to rely on him is to be more of a playmaker and being able to make those passes, which he did today actually really, really well. He played a lovely ball through to Dominic Szoboszlai, who on his right foot, I believe, buried that chance and made a good save out of Onana. I think bringing Salah more centrally would suit him in these later years, because I still believe that the pace isn't as there as it used to be, of course not, and that isn't to be expected. However, I still believe he has that incredible football IQ and intelligence to be able to develop his game, to be able to, as the great players do, your Messis and your Ronaldos and all, even your Gerrards and all these ones who have been capable of redesigning themselves. They weren't just one dimensional. They look at their body and go, right, I can't do those things that I was able to do. However, I can now do other things if I'm in the right place. And I think it could suit him. I'm still of the opinion that if an offer came in and it was silly money and it was, 120, 130, 140 million pounds, that money will not be there again next year. If you know what I mean. I don't know how long the Saudi project continues at the higher rate that it does. I believe it will always be there. As to whether or not they lose an interest in putting that kind of money forward for certain players. And that kind of money, plus with the money that we know is available for Caicedo, which we didn't spend, that would leave a very big kitty of money available as a club for us to be able to go forward and reinvest within the team. And that brings us quite well onto a good point here made by Paul, before we come to an end. If Amorim will stick to a back three, we spend big money on a player like Bastoni, even if it costs Van Dijk money. And to be honest, that's probably what it's going to take. I think that's what it would take to bring in a player of his quality. Bastoni, left-footed, left centre-back, one of the very best to do that job. Signed a deal this season with Inter Milan. Inter Milan, it could be it's a transfer that would make sense. And it's a transfer that could well happen. Goncalo Inacio is available there as well. He has a buyout clause of 60 million euros reportedly from Sporting Lisbon. Amorim knows him. Could that be a player that we see coming to Liverpool? Of course, it's always possible. Yeah, gents, it's been an interesting conversation. It's been a difficult afternoon on the pitch. However, going forward, there's a lot of positivity coming forward for Liverpool. Keep your eye on Twitter, keep your eye on X, keep your eye on all the socials and the media. I believe that this week we could well see a big potential report or maybe some big news coming forward off the pitch in our search for our new manager. Now, everyone who's watched, thank you very, very much. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being involved in the chat. We've really appreciated it, and we put some smiles on our faces, most definitely. If you can put a like on the stream, it means a lot to us. If you can share, even better. Make sure you're subscribed and catch us tomorrow. We'll be back 7:30 again, bringing you all the latest news on Liverpool. Thank you very much. Take care. See you guys. Bye-bye.